Hello, I'm here with a new friend of mine. She's also an artist, and so tell me a little bit about how you got started in drawing and creating, and what you prefer to create, and go ahead and tell us your name.
Okay, so I started drawing when I was a teen, I think around 13. When I bought for the first time Indian ink, I used to draw only with that, black Indian ink and waterpaper, nothing more. And as you may notice from my Instagram account, I draw women, lots of women. I like to draw them cute and colorful, and I really love to spread body positivity and self-love through my art.
Okay. So when you first started drawing, what was it that really inspired you to start creating?
My inspiration is my everyday life. Maybe a great movie I watched last night, some lyrics of the song I'm listening to, or even people on the bus. Sometimes you meet really particular faces, maybe some cool eyes or a cute nose, even a great outfit. Inspiration is like everywhere. You just have to look around you.
Yeah. I know for me, I'm not sure how this is for you, but like if I'm inside pretty much all day, you know what I mean? I like to draw a lot, but if I just never get outside, I think after a while I start losing inspiration or creativity. You know, kind of feel homesick. You know, if you're just inside 10 hours a day creating and then you just never get outside. So do you like to go to a lot of places or travel or anything?
Oh yeah, I think it's really inspirational. In fact, I like to see new places. I don't know. Maybe I like to draw in the park sometimes and outside. Maybe on a sunny day.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like this.
What's the weather like in your area?
It's pretty sunny, I will say. It's really hot, of course, now in the summer, but it's quite good, I think, for me. Even if I prefer maybe autumn or winter weather, so cold.
So it doesn't get really cold where you live at, does it?
No.
Okay. Like where I live, it gets to where it's maybe it can get below 0 outside. And so, like, depending on the wind chill, sometimes it can be about maybe negative 20, 25, negative maybe 30. But that's only sometimes. It's not like the entire winter it's that cold. But
oh my God, it's really cold.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I lived in like the North Pole or the South Pole or Alaska or something, it'd be that cold. But I'm probably about one state away from Canada. So kind of the north. I'm originally from the South, Florida area. I've lived in a couple of different places, but the other two places I lived were also warmer, and I'm not used to the cold weather. But I pretty much got to live where I can afford it because all the places I like to live are pretty expensive. Yeah. So is the place that you're at pretty much somewhere that you would see yourself staying, or do you think there's anywhere else you'd like to move to?
Actually, it's a good question because I don't know. It depends maybe where my work will take me. If I have to go to another place or city or even country, I think I just follow my dreams and my work, of course. So yeah, I don't probably see here in the future, but who knows?
Yeah. So, as far as work goes, is your work related to drawing and artwork? Do you sell any prints or anything?
Actually, I just attend to the International School of Comics.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 years studying illustration, and I just this week, exactly this week, I made my final exam. So
Mm-hmm.
now is a time to find a job or doing something like this. I don't sell art online yet. I mean,
Okay.
I have opening my commission, but through Instagram is really hard for a small artist to
Mm-hmm.
come out. There are so many great artists, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't have, of course, so many followers, so I'm not that famous to sell
Yeah.
my art online.
Mm-hmm.
But I programmed to open an online shop, so I can try at least to sell some prints or maybe stickers, something like this.
Okay. Yeah, I've used a couple of online sites. I think it was Society6 and a couple other things, but yeah, I don't have very many followers or anything yet as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've made in my entire life a total of maybe $200 from art, so I haven't really made that much. But I think you're going in the right direction with everything, and
Yeah.
as far as that goes. So when it comes to art and drawing and career and everything, is that pretty much a path that you're wanting to pursue for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I'll try
Yeah.
to make this my real job for
Mm-hmm.
my entire life. Actually, I forgot to say I had some job during these years. Like for example, I work for Eagle Picture. I made some cards about Tarantino's film, like Pulp
Mm-hmm.
Fiction, Kill Bill, that they sell with their DVD collection, or even make a little animation for. Actually, I don't know what it's called in English, but Medici Senza Frontiere,
Mm-hmm.
Medicine Sans Frontiers, I think, something like this. I'm sorry for my
Oh, you're
Francais
fine.
okay. Or even I made some logo for some private client or something
Yeah.
like this, but nothing so big yet.
Yeah. So you haven't really worked on any really large project yet, have you? Like,
Yeah.
what's the longest you've ever worked on a piece of art?
Mm, Depends, because
Mm-hmm.
I always work on a single illustration, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to do even a book illustration. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it was like 8 illustration is in a big on a big piece of paper.
Yeah.
So it took me really long time, yeah, some months. But I printed it. I was so happy when I saw
Yeah.
my book completed. It was so
Mm-hmm.
cute. But actually, when I draw my single illustration, you can even show on Instagram or something like that. I spend like 6 hours maybe on a piece. I like to conclude the illustration during my day. I don't like when it took me 2-3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit boring. Maybe I less interest in that, so I want to conclude it as fast as possible.
Okay. So, um, is it a long ways from where you're at to go into the park? Like if you want to create something and kind of have some quiet time,
Yeah.
you don't have to travel really far to have that, do you?
Travel for work, or to travel to go outside and drawing.
For going outside to do drawing.
Okay, if I have to travel a lot to go
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually no. No, I think I have a lot of cute places near my home. I live in Rome. I have this big city.
Yeah.
It's, I think, a big opportunity. So
Yeah.
art is like everywhere around me. So I don't have to take so far to
Yeah.
my home.
So what country are you from? Where did you say you live?
I live in Italy, in
Oh, okay.
Rome.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of famous stuff from there, like painters and
Yeah.
everything. That's where they all went, Florence, Italy. But
Yeah, Florence is so cute. I
yeah.
went to Florence some years ago. It was amazing.
Yeah, I've always wanted to travel to a different country, kind of get out of the United States, try to experience something different. But I just never
Yeah.
quite had the money yet. But maybe in the future. I mean, it's
This is a big problem.
yeah. You could want to travel somewhere, but if you can't afford it, it's
Yeah,
you want to be able to get back home.
Actually, I think my travel of my home life will be going to Alaska. I don't know why I have this in my mind. I want to go to Alaska. I don't know why actually, but I really want to.
See all the polar bears.
Maybe penguins.
Yeah, I don't know. Does Alaska have penguins? I thought that was like more north. I couldn't remember.
I don't know. I think in Alaska there is like something like nothing but ice and salmon, penguins.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm really curious. I want to go there and see. Oh, okay, I'm in Alaska.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Yeah, it would be a bad mistake if you forget to pack, clothes to keep you warmer. Like you just go there with the clothes that you wear in like Italy, and then you just show up and you're like, oh, I've got like a shirt and shorts on,
cool there.
and some sandals. So, but what do you prefer to create? Do you do any like ink drawing, or do you said you prefer to do painting?
If I like to prefer drawing or painting?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I prefer more one thing instead of other, because I love art in general. So whenever I can draw, to me is the happiest moment of my of my day. At the moment, I work always in digital because I think it is faster and more practical. I draw with my iPod Pro, so I can take with me wherever I go. Is really comfy to me, but I work a lot always traditionally, and I like to use watercolors or colored pencil, something like this.
Okay. Now, I had a question. I'm trying to remember what it was I was going to ask you. I had like 50 questions in my head. Forgive me for that. Oh, I remember I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, was there a certain artist that really inspired you to start creating, or was this something that you just started drawing and then later on you might have found people that inspired you to create?
I don't really have a favorite artist, but I would probably say Milo Manara. I don't know if you know it, but he is an Italian comic book artist and is really famous for drawing mostly women, exactly like me, except I'm not that famous, of course, and I'm not a comic book artist.
Yeah. So you like to do a lot of like anatomy drawing and stuff like that? Yeah,
I used to draw even a realistic drawing, but in the last years I found it a bit maybe annoying. So, when you draw something for your entire life in the same way, then you get just bored. You really want to change, to find something new, a new style, a new way to be creative. Okay, it's more stimulating.
Yeah, kind of like if you were to, let's say you're drawing anatomy, and the only thing you did was draw a hand over and over and over and over. It would probably get pretty boring. I mean, I need to work on drawing anatomy. So
I still can draw hands, actually.
Yeah.
I suck at drawing hands.
I know that the two hardest things for people to draw are hands and feet.
But I'm trying my best.
Yeah. Just do some a stick figure drawing. Just make 5 lines and then go over that. I know that with doing that digitally, because you can add different layers and stuff like that, you can make a kind of a sketch layer, and then once you have that done, make another layer, go over that, and you can kind of refine it. Kind of like what you talked about earlier, where traditionally takes a lot longer, whereas with digital you can undo, you can fix things. So
yeah, right. But actually, I work the same way I do traditionally. I do in digital. So I do the sketch layer, then I go for a line art layer, and then I add color. And actually, it's the same way as actually I do in tradition, because I do the sketch layer, of course, with my pencil. Then I go with my pen, and I do the line art. I clean all the lines, and then I put some watercolor, colored pencil, or something like this. Of course, if you make a mistake, tradition is your pocket.
Yeah, and I know when I first started doing digital, I was using it, and I didn't know that there was multiple layers. I had no idea that you could like make a layer and then draw another one, make it transparent. So when I first started using it, I was completely using it as if it was one piece of paper that could not be changed. And so, like, I was using it, and I was like, wait a second. I can just push Control Z, undo, and add another layer, and I discover that, and I'm like, wait, what? But I've really got to work on doing digital art. I think for me, it's that lack of like physical feeling between like me and what I'm drawing on. Whereas paper, like you're like really like you can actually it's actually there and you can touch it. Whereas digital, I mean, I haven't really done digital a whole lot in the past like year. I've been doing it. Because I bought a drawing tablet. It's like I think it's like 26 inches wide drawing tablet. It's pretty big, and it connects to my computer. But I haven't done a whole lot of stuff with it because it's just a really big transition going from traditional for me to digital.
True.
Because like it's so strange in a way because sometimes I'm drawing and it's like there's this layer of like glass in between me, and it's like I'm not actually touching that surface. Like I'm touching a few millimeters above it, so it takes a little bit of time getting used to that.
Yeah, I know I have the same problem initially. Of course, drawing on paper is a really great sensation, but digitally is so comfy.
Yeah.
But of course, if you do digital art, it doesn't mean you don't have to do traditional art anymore or something like this. So you can do exactly both at the same time. You can even draw your sketch traditionally and then bring to digital, or I don't know, maybe in reverse, because you can draw a digital, print it, and then go with some acrylics maybe on it, or some glitter, some sparkle, or something like this.
I think it would be interesting if you did try that, like you said, where you draw traditionally and then scan it. I think that's something I might try because I kind of have the beginning phases of the outline, and then I can go in and add color and undo things. Because I don't really work much with color, I really got to practice that as well. So I think if I practice doing color digitally, I can learn it quicker because I can add different layers and mix things, and I don't have to worry about the cost of supplies. Like I wanted to do some oil painting, but it's like a tube of oil paint's like $20, and like you go through like a half a tube from one painting, so it gets to be a bit expensive.
Yeah, right.
So it's probably pretty convenient for you to have doing digital because of the work that you do. You can pretty much take it anywhere. You don't have to have like a whole easel and everything set up. You can just go to the park. So, and what drawing tablet do you use?
Oh, what drawing tablet? I use an iPad Pro.
Okay.
And of course, the software is Procreate.
Okay. I've been using, I think it's called Krita. It's like a free program. I've been using that for the past year, but I didn't go make the big dive into spending a whole bunch digitally because I wanted to, get the practice in first.
Yeah.
Didn't want to go spend like $500 in a program and then not like it or something. So, how's the weather there today? Is it super hot?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. What's the temperature there?
Actually, I don't know. I have to see. I will check it. Oh, it's 34 degrees outside. Okay.
Okay. And For anybody that doesn't know, that's probably in Celsius, so not Fahrenheit. I had back in school a kid that was a foreign exchange student. He exchanged to our school, and everybody was so confused when we were in class because, like, he used a metric system and Celsius. Like
Right.
he used like a different system than we did, and so then like in class, like he kept getting confused by the teacher, some and the other students, because they would ask him a question, he would give them an answer, but it was like different. I think isn't the United States the only one that uses a different system than everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'd be more convenient if everybody used the same thing.
Exactly.
But yeah. Now, is it really a big city in your area?
A big city?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I'm in Rome.
Yeah. So there's plenty of things to do, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
What's that?
Can you repeat, please?
Oh, I said there's plenty of things to do there, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. I don't have much of anything to do here, really. Like, the town I live in is a pretty small town. I think there's like
Where
maybe...
do you live?
I live in Ohio.
Oh,
There's
okay.
maybe like between 8,000 to 10,000 people in this town, and people don't seem to really get out much around in this area as far as like going outside. Like when you look at the population, but then you look at how many people are like walking on the sidewalk or outside, it seems like the population would be like less than half that. But there's not a whole lot to do around here. If I do want to do something, I would have to drive to maybe Columbus or somewhere else. It's about a 2-hour drive maybe to get there, but not a whole lot here. Just lots of cornfields, and that's about it. So your area has all those fancy buildings and architecture and everything. Helps give you a lot of inspiration, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you do you do anything in architecture? Or you just prefer to do anatomy?
No.
Yeah.
I prefer doing anatomy,
Yeah.
of course.
Have you ever tried?
Actually, in fact, I think I never draw background on something like this, except in my book, of course,
Okay.
because I yet to. But I usually use just a simple color on the background, something like this.
Okay. So
I prefer to focus on my character.
Oh yeah. You probably could just make like a template layer digitally, like draw it up, sketch it really quick, and then just like copy that and use that as different backgrounds for your characters. I guess that'll work.
Yeah, maybe.
Then,
I can try.
I think then everybody would be like, that's the same background in all these. You could just tell them it's the same city. And so on Instagram, I was looking at some of your drawings and stuff that you've done on there. I'm gonna take a look at it right now. Yeah, there's a lot of anatomy stuff, character design.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of colors. Colors all over.
Really colorful. Yeah. Mostly pink, I think.
Yeah, I see. There's a lot of like pink, purple. There's pink, purple, and blues. I see a lot of those colors. Are those your favorite colors?
Pink.
Yeah.
Of course.
What have you done any collaborative work with other artists as far as any creations that you've made?
Yeah, actually, I've made 2 collaborations with 2 artists, and I'm working on a 3rd collaboration actually, and I never announced it, so it's a secret. Like,
Okay.
Don't tell anyone. I'm joking. Now everyone knows me.
Yeah.
But I'm working with 2 or maybe 3 artists this time together. We are working on a cool contest. Actually, I think it's a really ambitious project this time, but we'll try to make it.
Yeah. What is the goal of this project that you're working on? Like, you said is there something that you're trying to create?
Yeah, we are trying to bring a cool contest, like a small book collaboration together with
Okay.
a cover and some illustration inside.
Okay. And I'm just looking at your pictures here still. You have quite a few on there. They look like the drawings I'm looking at and stuff you created does look like something that would be in maybe like a cartoon show or something.
Everyone say I draw Brett, actually.
Yeah.
The doll Brett, you know.
Yeah.
With big lips, big eyes.
Yeah. I guess everybody's got their own style and everything. I guess a couple of them kind of look like characters. You know how someone can do a drawing of somebody, they turn it into like a cartoon, and they kind of like make some stuff out of proportion.
Oh yeah.
Like say for example, if you're doing a character drawing of someone, and that person's got eyes that are slightly bigger than normal, you just like purposely make them gigantic in the drawing.
Yeah, actually, I like to draw really big feet and hands. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess if your character's, I guess you can make a character that has like gigantic feet and just uses them to go skiing in Alaska. Or snowboarding, I mean. But now what is the name of the book that you created?
Actually, of course, it's in Italian. Is La farfalla azzurra.
Okay.
So in English, it will be something like the blue butterfly.
Okay. Is there a certain place that we could find this? Is it on Amazon or is it?
No, not yet.
Okay. Alrighty. Because I was going to leave a link or a place that someone could find your book.
Actually, it's not online.
Okay.
I have my print here with me, but it's not online yet.
Okay. You'll get to it one day, right? Now, as far as creatively, is there any other pursuits that you have that's kind of related to art in a way, that any other hobbies you have outside of it?
No.
No? Not really?
No.
But how long do you say you spend every day drawing? Pretty much
I
all day?
Of course, I draw every single day. Whenever I have some free time, I draw. It's like going to the gym, no? You have to keep training, improve yourself every day, learn something new. That's the key to make great art. And I don't know, when I have free time, I draw. So I don't have to do exactly. Oh, I have 3 hours to draw. And of course, I draw mostly during the night.
Have you ever had those moments to where, let's say it's really late at night, but like you don't really have enough time to draw, but you have enough time to where just sitting there and doing nothing feels unproductive. So you get like 20 minutes, and then you're like, I need to work on something.
Yeah, it happens to me.
Yeah, I've done that before, and I'm like, I'm just gonna work in this 20 minutes, and then before I know it, 4 hours is gonna by, and then I look at the clock, I'm like, I have to be at work in 3 hours. I didn't even sleep.
Yeah.
So, but as far as your characters go, I'm still looking at the different ones you have on here. I see one. There's a looks like a Joker character.
Yeah.
And there's one.
I made with watercolor the Joker, of course.
Okay. Was that digital watercolor, or was it on?
No, traditional. Yeah.
Okay. It like the lines and the colors of it look so clean. It looks as if it was done digitally.
Thank you.
So that's why I was confused by it.
For line art.
Yeah. Then I see you have one of a cat. So that was graphite?
Yeah.
It's pretty detailed.
Yeah, I even do realistic portraits. In fact, also digitally and traditional. So
Okay.
graphic with iPad. You can find even some time lapses sometimes in my feed.
Okay. Yeah, definitely one advantage doing graphite digitally is you don't have to, or especially charcoal, is you don't have to worry about getting charcoal all over the place. It can be messy, really messy.
Yeah.
I had made that mistake once. I was doing some charcoal drawing, and
Mm-hmm.
my computer is maybe, I don't know, a foot away from me or two, and I was doing a whole bunch of charcoal drawing, and then like
No.
all the charcoal, I forgot about it. Like a bunch of the charcoal dust went into my computer, and then I just spent like an entire day cleaning.
Actually, it happens to me the same with when I paint with acrylics.
Yeah.
When I look at my computer, it's like full of these little dots. I'm like, oh my god, my screen.
Yeah, you're like sitting there, why is my tablet different colors? And just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave it on there. It makes it colorful. It's creative. Now, so do you actually own any pets or anything?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Do you
repeat? Like,
do you own any pets?
no, actually not.
Okay, I was just wondering because of the drawing of the cat.
Nah, but I really like Sphinx cat. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
This looks like one of those Egyptian kitties, kind of. But so how long did you say you've been drawing now?
How long?
Mhm.
For my whole life.
Yeah, pretty much.
I never stopped it. Yeah.
Okay. I'd say I've been drawing, I don't know, since I was like 5, pretty much my entire life as well.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Now that we talk about like how long we've been drawing, I had somebody a couple months ago. I was talking to him, and they told me like they're kind of down on themselves because they felt like they couldn't improve or that they weren't very good at drawing. And I gave them a couple of tips, and I gave them some advice on drawing, and then I kind of like sent them some videos of some people that do tutorials in drawing, because this person, they were kind of being like sad and depressed about not improving very much. And I asked them, how long you been drawing? And they said 3 weeks. And I was like, well, it's like, that's not very long. And then a couple months later, after they had been practicing, they were able to do like realistic drawing as good as I do. And I've been doing drawing for 24 years now. And I was like, remember when you told me that you didn't think you were very good, or that it's too hard, or that you couldn't improve? And here you, like, within a matter of a couple months, you're drawing as realistic as I do already. So I think a lot of times people underestimate what they're capable of.
Yeah, sure.
Did you ever feel that way, like when you first?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
I still do, actually.
Yeah. You make something, you're like, oh, this is awesome, and then like you see somebody else create something, and then you're like, how?
Exactly.
Yeah. But for the most part, I would say my advice for anybody that feels like they're not that good is just not worry about so much what other people are creating and how good they are. Just kind of, if you just do what you like to create and just keep practicing, and don't look at other people's work as if, I can't get there, I can't be that good. Kind of look at it as a way to inspire you, because I like you said, I had a couple of times where I felt like I wasn't that good, or that I'd see something that was really good and I'd think, there's no way I can do that. But anymore, if you just stay really focused on what you're creating and you just try to be as good as you can be, then you keep having fun doing it, and then you won't get down and sad about it, and then you just continue making more and more things. So
yeah, that's a really good advice.
Yeah, because if you go around trying to be like the next Michelangelo or Da Vinci, then if everybody tried that, and I think there wouldn't be as much art out there, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a point to where you want to be better and improve, And then there's a point where you're jumping into too much at once. It's kind of like trying to go from being able to barely draw stick figures and expecting yourself to paint like Da Vinci the next week. I mean, it's not. You got to make a little step in between there. You've got to study figure drawing, anatomy, and everything else before you can get to where you can paint that. So I think sometimes people just expect too much in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So, but that person I told you about, they improved that much in a couple of months. I asked them, like, so what do you think about what you said that you don't think you'll ever be that good? And they're like, I regret ever saying that. So, but as far as we were saying about artwork and drawing and all that, have you ever done like doodling or abstract work?
Abstract. No, actually, I try sometimes to do some more graphic art, like my squared woman or chubby woman, something like this. I have actually, I have to say, I have lots of drawing of illustration. I don't put on Instagram, okay?
Yeah.
and that's the graphic stuff I do.
Okay.
That there is like our more illustration more for a job for my work requires or something like this. Okay, not really for Instagram. But the abstract, no, I don't like it.
Okay. I would say I started doing traditional art when I first started, but I mean, everything's different for everybody. And for me, when it comes to like, I mean, you know what doodling is pretty much. You just kind of draw random things. Like I draw random things. I don't really know what I'm thinking about. I just sit down and I start creating something. It's really stress relieving for me. And like if I do traditional, like it's really difficult because I want to improve, but because I'm not just super relaxed. I think if I do it too much, then I start getting stressed and then I lose my creativity. So I kind of alternate back and forth where I do some traditional to improve my drawing, and then I doodle a bunch, and then when I get bored of doodling and I feel like I need to improve, then I go back to doing that more. But if I just only do one, I notice if I do it for too long, then my skill starts lacking a lot in the other. For example, if I start practicing traditional only for many months, and then I try to like doodle again, and then I'll sit there and I have no idea what to draw. But then if I only doodle, and then I go do something traditional, I'm thinking to myself, why can't I even draw a basic triangle? What is going on with me? Like, you know how like when you go to draw a face or something, you pretty much just draw the basic shapes, kind of sketch it in, make it all blocky, and then you refine that and make it more detailed. And if I only do doodling, I kind of like lose that ability to like see the artistic eye, to see the different shapes and how it all goes together. And I go to draw it, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like one eye is like up where the forehead is, and the other eye is like down where the cheek is. And like this, I think its proportions are off. Like if you just squint at it, it might look like it's even, but. So, when you're working with traditional, do you you probably make multiple files. You'll save like a certain progress, and then save that file so that later on, if you have something that you want to change, or maybe you can like add multiple characters in it. Okay. I made the mistake one time as well on my doing digital, where I forgot to set it to auto save, and I worked on something for like, I don't know, maybe 8 hours, and then I went away from my computer, and like the program quit responding, and I came back and I didn't have it no more.
Oh
but
my god!
It wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't anything that great. It was like my second day doing digital. It wasn't like it was something that was important to keep.
Fortunately, Procreate saved your art automatically, so I don't have this problem.
Well, there is an auto save in the program I use. I just forgot to enable it because I just started using it.
Actually, when I work on Photoshop, yeah, I always save my drawings, so I won't lose my file, of course.
Yeah, that would be a big problem. You work on a big project. Let's say it's like a collaboration, or like some company contacts you and says, "Hey, we want you to do this and this." Then you work on it for like 40 hours, and then like you accidentally format the hard drive or something. Like, oh, all of my stuff was on there. That would be a problem. But yeah. So have you lived in Italy your whole life?
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as your childhood and drawing and all that, what was the first thing you started drawing with? Pencil? Crayon?
As I said before, Indian ink, yeah, was the first thing I bought for drawing.
Yeah.
I don't know why, actually. Maybe inspired by the manga's world or something like this. In that period, I like to read some manga. So maybe I thought black and white was a great combination together.
Yeah. How long was it to where you felt comfortable showing other people your artwork? Or was there, you just kind of didn't, or did you just always show people?
That's a nice question.
Yeah.
Because actually, I never show with my art intentionally. Like, hey, this is my art. Please look at it.
Yeah.
When I was in class or even at home or with friends, I used to draw, to doodle, to sketch something, and then maybe your friends, your parents was like, oh, let me see. Oh, wow, this is good. I was, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then when I started this school 3 years ago, of course I had to show my heart to my teachers or something like this. So I decided this year to create my Instagram account and to show people my art and see how it goes. So if even because if you like to work in this world, in this amazing world of the illustration, you have to know if your art, if people like your art, okay? Because I love my art, I love what I do, but I have to sell this illustration I made, okay? So if people don't like it, it's like useless. It's like, yeah, I like to draw, but nobody loves it, so it's useless. It's a completely useless and meaningless, because I like to spread as I say, the body positivity, self-love, and something like this. And my goal, I think, is reach as many people I can with my art, become part of their lives, or even inspire them. I think this is my goal, okay? Inspire them to being even a better version of themselves, maybe. So I think it's really important to reach people in many ways I can.
That's really good that you're doing that, because there's times out there people might be going through something, and if they have someone like you that can help inspire them or to help motivate them to not give up, then you never know what that person could grow up to be, what artist they could be. Because if you look back in history of any famous painter or a lot of really famous artists we had, if that person wasn't given the ability or the time to create like they did, and or if they didn't have something or somebody to inspire them, and you had everybody holding them back from creating, I think the world would be missing out on a lot of things. Like if we didn't have Michelangelo or Da Vinci or some of the other really famous painters and artists from history. And even today, if somebody like the guy I told you about that didn't think he was very good, I think a lot of times people underestimate themselves, and sometimes you don't know what we're losing out as far as the potential that someone could have to create for other people.
Actually, I love to say that the main reason because I started drawing is because I was having a really hard time, and it was like impossible to me to say how I felt inside.
Yeah.
But art helped me a lot to bring out all this sadness. Okay, so we can probably say that art saved me in in a kind of
Yeah.
way, and still does, of course. So that's the main reason I like to spread all this self-love, spread the
Yeah.
love, as I always say, because I want to say to that to people that follow me that I made it. So if it's okay sometimes to be sad or to feel a bit okay, like overwhelmed or something like this, but it's completely normal. But of course, life is a really great gift to us. So I think it's a good thing to try at least to enjoy it.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with not knowing what your potential is. And for me, drawing was always an outlet. It's something that's always been there. For example, if I didn't have someone to talk to, or I didn't know how to express myself or get my ideas out, or if people were being mean to me, and all the really bad stuff that was going on through my childhood growing up, I just did a lot of drawing. And so now, as an adult, as I've gotten older, it's still always been that way, and things have gotten a lot better. But now it's like, even if everything's going good, I feel like if I'm not drawing, then I don't feel very good as well. Like, it's not as happy. And art can be like a type of therapy in a way, as you said, dealing with stress. So, and when I was talking about like dealing with stress and trying to improve, it kind of goes back as well as what I said about someone that's like being held back and told that they can't do something. One thing I do find a lot of times is that people that have had to go through like really tough times or had to go through a lot of obstacles in life, they tend to be the ones that they appreciate what they have, and they want to give back to those around them because they understand what it's like to go through that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think what you're doing is really good, and I think you just keep creating and doing what you're doing, because I think you're pretty good at what you do so far. And I mean, like, when I look at some of the characters and things that you make, like if I tried that right now, I don't even know what it would look like. I think it would look like a 5-year-old did it. If I tried it. There's so much I have to learn, but we're all gonna start somewhere, right? But
yeah, of course.
I try to challenge myself to improve, but not get down on myself thinking this is too hard. But just kind of have fun with it and try to
sometimes
get out.
it is really hard to get out of your comfort zone. Maybe I even have the same problem because I draw lots of women. I use a lot of pink, something like this. Maybe I should try to draw something different.
I think something that would really be different for you is if you did like a landscape setting with nature scenes, black and white traditional with ink, that's like architecture everywhere. That would be really out of your element because you haven't really done much practice with that. So like if I try to draw something that's completely different than I'm used to, a lot of times I'll start and I'm like, what am I doing? This doesn't even look like this. This does not look like a face. What is people going to think about it? But after you do it a couple of times, it's like one thing that I have noticed is that I tend to learn better. Like every mistake I make, then I remember not to draw it that way. So you just got to keep keep doing it over and over. Like if you're drawing a hand or something, and you're like, this hand looks like it's a foot or something, then you're like, okay, I need to change this, maybe add more shading, and go from there on that. So, now the art collaborations and things that you're working on.
Yeah.
You said is it a really long project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. We don't even started yet. We still talking about this or something, but we have this idea, so we'll work as soon as possible on that.
Maybe one day you can do some collaboration with somebody, like travel to Alaska and go around carrying like your tablet drawing penguins and polar bears.
Penguins.
No, that's it. I don't know if you've drawn that. Have you ever drawn any penguins digitally?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I have made recently a pop-up project.
Okay.
And I made this pop-up project about Alaska, actually. So there is a little Eskimo on the top with that is fishing, and there are penguins or many salmon and something like this.
You could have make like a little book where you just like say if you did ever travel there, like turn it into like a little book where it's like an adventure, and you can be the penguin. You can like name yourself after the penguin, and then penguin travels from Italy to find its home in Alaska or something like that. Maybe I'm just talking goofy.
Yeah.
What color would you make the penguin?
The penguin?
Yeah, would it be a purple or a pink penguin? A pink one? I don't think I've ever seen a pink penguin. Guess that would be something new. I think it'd be really out of place. Like you see like a photo of like it snowing in Alaska, and all the penguins are like black and white, and there's like a purple one. I'm like that's a bit out of place.
With glitter on it.
Yeah.
A sparkle penguin.
And just walk around carrying a tablet drawing. You're like, man, what is going on? But yeah, I'm a bit random sometimes. But
don't worry.
Now, as far as your collaborations, about like say for example, if you took someone like me that doesn't have very much experience with digital, about on average, how long do you think, or just a guess, do you think it would take to where I would be able to practice to get good enough to where I would be good enough to collaborate with someone that would be at your skill level, you think?
Actually, I can't have the right question because I think it's personal. Okay, when how much time do you have to learn something or being good at it is always personal. Okay, you may take a long time or a really short time. I don't know. So I worked a lot, of course, when I started digitally. Because of course when I started my line art were also shaky and something like this, because it's a really different sensation even if the iPad have a screen where you can drawing is like you may say is like drawing on paper, of course, because you have a screen, you see what you're drawing, you have a pen, okay, but it's so difficult to keep the line so clean and smooth. It was like, oh my god, I can't even drawing. Initially it was really frustrating because I thought I suck at drawing digitally, but after some maybe months, I think, when I draw every day, then I see many improvements. So I was quite happy with the results. And now here you are.
Yeah, I did. It was like a space theme digital artwork that I created about a year ago. Almost a year ago, and I had only been practicing maybe for a couple weeks, and when I first started, like it was horrible. I was like, it looked like someone grabbed a rock, dipped in ink, and was like scribbling on like a piece of paper. That's how bad it was. But then after like 2 weeks, a couple of weeks, I figured out like different layers and all the different tools that are on the program. And then I made this digital wallpaper of this like space theme, and I sent it to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, that's cool. Where'd you find that at?" I'm like, "I made it." He was like, "For real?" He's like, "No way." I'm like, "Wait, is it good?" He's like, "Yeah, it's awesome. I'm gonna use it as my wallpaper on my phone." And I was thinking it was horrible. Like, I didn't think it was that good. But then he thought it was good.
Yeah.
I think sometimes as artists we're very self-critical, and like we see all the flaws in the drawing, whereas somebody that doesn't draw a lot, they're not looking at seeing all these little flaws. They're just looking at it as a whole picture.
Yeah. Sometimes I think is of course a really bad thing, because it's like I suck, I can draw. But sometimes I think is also a good thing, because is like something to that push you to improve yourself, to make better. Okay, so is 50-50.
Yeah, because you get to the point where you want to improve, but then you criticize yourself too much, then you just kind of get down. You're like, I can't do this. But then again, if you're in your field of work where you want to make a living from it, you do have to worry about what people think of it, because you're trying to sell it. I mean, you can't just only do it because you enjoy it, because if you only do it because you only enjoy it, but you never try to improve, and then you can't really sell anything.
You don't have to care about others. It's like, I like to draw pink dolls. Okay, I'll draw pink dolls all the day. And then become maybe a person come to you and say, "Oh, a pink doll sucks." I was like, oh my god. It's like I draw my life, spending all my life drawing something that sucks.
Yeah. I know a guy that I'm trying to remember his name. His name just slipped my mind, but he had worked for a really big company in the United States, like designing stuff for comic books, and he spent most of his time outside of work drawing, but also when he was at work, because he was told what to draw, and he had to draw these things for them. And so when he would go home, he would just draw everything completely different, like how he wanted, like for himself. And
yeah, of course.
I think it was in one of his videos he was talking about that, and he said that he had eventually, after I think it was like 5 years or so doing that, he actually like quit his job and started like working for himself, because he felt like he was losing his creativity, because like for him, creating started to feel like a job or task, because he would go work, most of the day, drawing things he didn't even want to draw, and then by the time he got home, he was like burnt out, and then like he would want to draw, but was just like too tired from it.
Yeah, actually, it happens to me. It's actually the same thing when I used to go to this school, because I was a really stimulating school, but the fact is that you have to try to improve your techniques. It's not focused on what you draw in, but more on how you draw this. So we do a lot of realistic portrait, and maybe even some hyper realistic portrait. Actually, I have to say I'm quite good at doing this kind of art, but I think it's like exactly how you say, my creativity was like going lower and lower, because you feel like a robot. Okay, you have a photograph, you have to redraw it. It's like, oh my god, always the same thing, the same photo. It's so frustrated. So I prefer sometimes drawing my dolls or something like this. I was in lots of pink instead of doing a painting, a realistic painting. Even if I'm really good at it, but I don't find it really stimulating or something. It's like to me, it's like technique and stop, nothing more.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said, only technique, no creativity. You just feel like it. I think after you do it for a long time, like if I'm drawing a portrait of something that's realistic, and you're drawing it exactly like that, after you do it for a while, it feels almost the same as if you were to just trace it. And then it's like, what's the point of... what's the point? I'm not even having fun.
Exactly. Initially, before I attended this school, so I draw in my free time between school lessons and something like this. I used to draw realistic, as I said. So I do lots of anatomy and something like this because I really enjoyed drawing that. But when I went to the school, actually we had to study anatomy, drawing lots of hands, lots of legs, and then it was like, oh my god, I really hate doing this realistic stuff. Oh my god, I want to do big faces with big ears, really small nose or something like this, big feet. Exactly how I draw now. I just want to distort this anatomy, doing something completely different. So I want to draw a fat woman, something like this.
Draw somebody that has like super skinny legs and like a gigantic head and giant hands or something.
Exactly. I want to draw completely opposite of what I drew before in my entire life. I regret everything I want to do in my life.
I think a lot of...
I'm drawing, I don't regret anything.
I think a lot of artists run into that problem. I mean, I had that problem in school, and like when I had art class, because I tried to go to college a couple of times for art, but it just didn't work out for me because I was like really bad at math and all these other classes, but I was good at the art class, and so like to get my degree in it, I had to pass all the other ones, and so it just didn't work out for me. But as you said, when it comes to like you had to draw a certain thing, it goes back to when when I was younger, my childhood, to where a lot of the things that I was told I had to do, like they kept wanting me to do over and over, and then as I get older, it's like I don't even want to do that no more. I want to like create this way or draw this way. Like I remember in math class, the teachers would want us to solve a math problem a certain way. Well, I'd always like go against it and try to do it my own way, which still gave the answer. But then the teacher would be like, "No, I want you to do it this way," and I'd be like, "Yeah, but I got the right answer still, and it worked." So, but I think that tends to happen too if you go into an art career, or if you're working on something. I guess it just depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're working in a collaboration with people that are like your friends and you know them, you can kind of talk more about compromising on what you can create together, rather than only have to create something for a big company that says, hey, you have to draw this one character like 500 times for this book, but we're only going to publish like one of those images. And it's like, oh gosh. So, but that would be a lot of work.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry I had to interrupt you, but I have to go really soon, so we can... okay, sorry. Oh,
you're fine. You're fine. We've been talking now for about an hour.
Exactly.
I'm
really sorry, but...
Oh, you're fine. At the moment, I don't really have any other questions. If you want,
perfect.
we can do another podcast some other time if you want to. We can make plans and go ahead and schedule that. But for now, I'm probably gonna go eat and work on some things. And I had a good time talking to you, getting to know you, and I hope everybody else likes to hear our talk and us talking about penguins in Alaska. So, but it was nice talking to you, and I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.